In this video, I am going to show you how to love your partner without anxious attachment. If you ever felt like you're loving too hard, worrying too much, or losing yourself in the fear of being left behind, this video is for you. We are not just scratching the surface. We're getting real about anxious attachment, what it looks like, where it comes from, and most importantly, how to break the cycle and build a kind of love that feels secure. You're going to walk away with tools, guys, practical, proven strategies that you can start using today to shift your mindset, regulate your emotions, and show up in your relationship with confidence and clarity. So, if you're ready to love without losing yourself, let's get started. Anxious attachment often grows out of our earliest experiences, from a time when our need for consistent care and safety wasn't fully met. This can leave us with a deep-seated fear of abandonment that follows us right into adulthood. We crave intimacy, but the second we find it, a part of our brain sounds an alarm, terrified that it won't last. This creates a painful cycle. You might become hyper-vigilant, analyzing your partner's every move for signs they're pulling away. You might swallow your own needs to avoid being a burden. Or maybe you might start a protest with anger or silence when you feel disconnected, all in a desperate attempt to feel safe again. That constant anxiety is exhausting, and it can slowly chip away at your self-esteem, leaving you feeling unworthy of the very love you want so badly. But here's the most important thing you need to understand. Your attachment style is not a life sentence. It's a learned pattern, and anything that was learned can be unlearned. You have the power to heal and to build what psychologists call earned secure attachment. It takes work, self-compassion, and a willingness to try new ways of being. And that's exactly what we're going to cover. We're going to walk through the how, not just the theory, but the concrete actions you can start taking today to build a foundation of security inside yourself so you can finally love and be loved freely. The first step in healing is simply to raise your awareness. You can't change a pattern you don't understand. Think of anxious attachment like a smoke alarm that's just wired to be way too sensitive. Your job is to become the calm, curious technician who learns what triggers the alarm and how to gently recalibrate it. This all starts with recognizing your specific patterns. Start paying close attention. What specific situations kick up your anxiety? Is it when your partner goes out with his friends or her friends? A text that goes unanswered for a few hours? A slight change in their tone of voice? These are your triggers, guys. For many of us with an anxious style, the trigger is often just a perceived bit of distance from our partner. Once that trigger hits, what happens next? Notice the story your mind immediately tells you. Does it jump to the worst case scenario? They're losing interest. I'm going to be abandoned. That's catastrophizing, and it's a hallmark of anxious thinking. Next, tune into your emotional response. Do you feel a surge of panic, a pit of dread, or a wave of sadness? And finally, what's your behavioral impulse? Do you feel an overwhelming urge to text them over and over for reassurance? Do you start a fight? Or do you shut down and go quiet, hoping they'll notice? These are your go-to coping mechanism, and they were likely learned a long time ago, especially when you were younger. A really powerful tool here is keeping an emotional journal. Each day, just take a few minutes to log any moment where you felt relationally anxious. Write down the triggers, the automatic thoughts, the emotion, and what you did. This isn't about judging yourself. It's about gathering data. Over time, you will notice and see your own patterns with stunning clarity. This self-awareness is the foundation for everything else. It takes you from being a passenger of an emotional runaway train to being the conductor who can see the tracks ahead and choose a different path. Okay, so once you can spot your triggers, the next step is learning how to manage that anxiety in the moment without immediately turning to your partner. This is called self soothing or self regulation, and it's a skill that people with secure attachment styles usually learn in childhood. For the rest of us, it's something we have to consciously build as adults. Relying on a partner to constantly calm your anxiety can create dependency and really strain the relationship. The goal is to become your own source of safety. One of the best ways to do this is with mindfulness and grounding techniques. When anxiety hits, your mind is in the future, spinning stories about what might go wrong. Grounding pulls you back to the present moment where you're actually safe. A simple technique is deep breathing. Inhale slowly for 4 counts, hold for 4, and exhale slowly for 6 counts. This literally activates your body's natural relaxation response. Another great tool is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. When you feel that wave of panic, just pause and name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can physically feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This yanks your attention out of the anxious storm in your head and plants it firmly in your physical surroundings. You can also build a self-soothing toolkit. This is just a list of activities that you know can calm you down. It could be listening to a certain playlist, taking a warm bath, going for a walk, or watching a comfort movie. The key is to do these things with the intention of caring for yourself, not just distracting yourself. You're actively parenting your own inner child and telling them, I've got you, you are safe. Practicing these techniques when you're already calm makes them much easier to use when you're actually triggered. Anxious attachment runs on negative stories. Our minds create these narratives to make sense of our fear, and they are almost always bent towards the worst possible outcome. So, your next job is to become a detective and challenge these stories. You have to learn to separate anxious friction from objective reality. When a trigger hits, and your mind spins a tale of rejection, grab your journal and use a technique from cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT. First, write down the hot thought, the one causing the most pain. For example, he hasn't texted back in 3 hours. He's obviously mad at me and pulling away. Now, put that thought on trial. Ask yourself, what's the evidence for this thought? Well, he is usually quicker to respond, okay? What's the evidence against it? He told me he had a busy day at work. He was really loving this morning. He was really busy this morning. In the past, this has just meant he was busy. What's a more balanced alternative explanation? He is probably just busy or in a meeting. A delayed text isn't proof of a crisis. Another powerful reframe is to ask what you'll tell a friend in the same situation. You'd probably offer them a much more compassionate and realistic perspective. Try giving that same kindness to yourself. This process isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about realizing that your first fear-based reaction isn't the only truth. It's about poking holes in that catastrophic story. With practice, you create a tiny bit of space between the trigger and the emotional reaction, giving your rational mind a chance to step in. You start to learn that feelings aren't always facts, especially when they're coming from old wounds. A really common pattern with anxious attachment is indirect communication. Because we're afraid of being rejected, we might hit at our needs, use protest behavior like giving the silent treatment, or just explode after bottling everything up. We secretly hope our partner will just know what's wrong And when they don't, it confirms our worst fear that they don't really care. Healing means learning to state your needs and feelings directly, calmly, and clearly. This starts with owning your feelings using I statements. Instead of saying, "You never text me, you just don't care," which is an accusation, you can try, "I feel anxious and a little disconnected when I don't hear from you for a while. I know that's my anxiety and I'm working on it, but it would really help me if we could just touch base at some point in the day." See the difference, guys? The first version attacks your partner and puts them on the defense. The second one expresses your feeling. "I feel anxious," and it states your need. "It would help me if," and it takes responsibility. "I know I'm working on it." This invites teamwork instead of conflict. It's also okay to ask for reassurance in a healthy way. It only becomes a problem when it's a constant, frantic demand. A healthy ask might sound like, "Hey, my anxiety is a little high today. Could you just remind me that we are okay?" It's direct and vulnerable. It lets your partner support you without feeling like they're responsible for managing your entire emotional state. And when they do give you that reassurance, practice really taking it in. Thank them and then fight the urge to ask again 5 minutes later. A key feature of anxious attachment is making the relationship the center of your entire universe. Your partner can become the main source of your happiness and self-worth. That's a terrifying amount of pressure just for you, and it can be suffocating to them. The answer is to intentionally build a rich, fulfilling life outside of your relationship. This isn't about pulling away, it's about creating a stronger, more stable you. This means investing in your own hobbies and passions. What did you love to do before this relationship? What have you always wanted to try? Sign up for that class, join that hiking club, start that project. When you have things that bring you joy and challenge you, you build self esteem from your inside out. You prove to yourself that you are capable and whole with or without a partner. What you can do also is that you can build a relationship with God. So, therefore, when you do that now, you and your God have a close relationship, and this helps to build your relationship with your partner. It also means nurturing your other supportive relationships. Invest real time in your friendships and with your family. These connections offer different kinds of stability and perspective, reminding you that you have a whole network of support. When you have multiple sources of fulfillment, your romantic relationship no longer has to carry the weight of all your emotional needs. Finally, protect your own well being. This means getting enough sleep, eating food, moving your body, and spending time in ways that recharge you. When you consistently show up for yourself in these small but vital ways, you send a powerful message to your subconscious. I am worthy of care. I am my own safe base. That internal foundation is what secure attachment is built on. As you start to try these strategies, please remember to be patient and kind with yourself. This is a journey, guys, not a quick fix. If you're finding this video helpful and you want to keep learning how to build more secure and loving relationships, take a moment to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's next. And I'll see you on the next video. But before you go, I have some affirmation cards to help you with your overthinking. It's free, guys, and you can download it in the description below. Just click in the description below and download these Stop Overthinking affirmation cards. It really, really does help with your anxious attachment and in your relationship. Thank you very much, guys.